Respected chairperson and my colleagues, after a long discussion about the biometry, then how to select a patient and how to do a perfect surgery and how to do a capsulorhexis, but still we have performed a very good surgery. Next day, if you ask the patient, he will say, मेरे आँख से पानी गिर रहा है, आई एम नॉट फीलिंग वेल. तो आपका पूरा परिश्रम गलत हो गया. तो व्हाट वी हैव फॉरगेट हियर, the moment a patient comes with defective vision, we suddenly jump into the जाओ biometry कर लो, और we most likely to forget the ocular surface, जो कि it is the most exterior part and which is subject to lot of stress and contamination also. So that's why I have chosen this topic, though it is not important for all purpose, but for me it is very important. So careful assessment and management of the ocular surface is vital for optimal post-operative refractive outcome. The air-tear film interface is the highest index of refraction. It interferes with the pre-operative measurement if it is unstable or suppose there is any presence of corneal pathology. Often it gives rise to some refractive surprise, and it is the most common cause of the dissatisfied patient after cataract surgery, more often following premium cataract surgery. So these are the pathologies. So most likely we include this one, pterygium is most common. Then these are the dry eye, and these are the also some nodular degeneration. This is very rare for OSSN. So how image seen in normal and dry eye, we must know, and we must ask and with modulate the patient also, so that he can say and we also diagnose. So in case of perfect ocular surface, we will see very crisp eye image. But in case of the dry eye, patient will see, but it is very hazy. So what are the predisposing risk factor for ocular surface disease? We must know. So there are certain local factors and there are certain systemic factors. Among that, there is something systemic medication, Sjogren syndrome, contact lens user. Suppose a patient is a contact lens user, the same day we will do biometry, it will give wrong. So we have to consider that. Prior refractive surgery, concurrent use of other ophthalmic medications. So how I approach the ocular surface before cataract surgery? So first important procedure is slit lamp examination of the anterior segment before jumping for the any biometry or any posterior segment. Before any eye drop and procedure, means we have to do these procedures like in-office mammography, topography, ocular surface analyzer and biometry. Ocular surface analyzer and in-office mammography, we often, everybody don't accept, but if possible, it is better. So focused clinical evaluation means first we have to see what are the periocular area, lid and lacrimal drainage. If any lid abnormality like blepharitis or any ulcerative or lacrimal, suppose epiphora or dry eye, and conjunctiva means lip cough, that's external dermato, that will give rise to then cornea and tear film. So these are the figures. First, this is the upper part, this is showing normal meibomian gland, this is the shortened, and there is total loss of the gland. And we have to go for topography for the crisp layer. It will give both anterior and posterior. Suppose there is a dry eye level, it will give irregular keratometric reading. So optical biometry is best after. By using ocular surface analyzer, we can go for non-invasive tear breakup time. It gives a very good result. But we often go for Surmer test. We often neglect this non-invasive TBUT. And in OPD, we usually go for fluorescein, but it is not a good job. This is a very good technique, that is the LLPP technique for ocular surface analysis. Means L for look, to look for the blink rate, what is the lid lashes positions and health of the lid lashes, then interpalpebral surface, then lift. By lifting the upper lid, you to examine what are the position of the palpebral bulbal conjunctiva and superior limbus. Then pull by pulling, we have to assess the lead laxity, whether it is a horizontal or vertical lead laxity, or there is any floppy lead, or what is the position of the furnaces. Then by pushing, we have to express the secretion of the Meibomian gland. So it is according to the ASCR algorithm. So we have to follow this LLPP technique. Always evaluate both eye. Suppose a patient comes with one single unilateral cataract. Though we know we have to measure both eye, but still many of us are not measuring. So this will give, so always measure visual acuity of the both eye, keratometry, biometry, ocular surface evaluation, cataract assessment, then go for the posterior segment evaluation. Then I will tell what is the relation of the pterygium and biometry. Pterygium causes significant change in keratometry reading that ultimately affect the calculated IOL power. It is pronounced with the increase in the size of the pterygium, so management of pterygium before cataract surgery is must. But there are two schools of thought. Here, topography showing a large nasal pterygium and the resulting irregular astigmatism. So topography is better modality than the keratometer for the astigmatism. So there is a question arise, should we go for simultaneous or sequential surgery in the eye with the pterygium? If there is a small pterygium and cataract and it is not affecting more than 0.75 astigmatism, we can go for the simultaneous surgery. If the size of the pterygium is 3 mm or greater, we have to excise before the cataract surgery. And often there is a confusion, what is the waiting period? Most of this, they say 6 weeks to 8 weeks, but ideally it is 6 months, 3 to 6 months is required for the keratometric stability after the pterygium excision. So when, as we know, cataract surgery is a planned surgery, it is not emergency surgery. So why to hurry? So it is better to wait for 3 to 6 months after pterygium excision. So prior to dry eye, actually we don't, maximum there are pre-symptomatic eye. So we have to manage the dry eye also. This is a flow chart for the dry eye management for the cataract surgery. If during dry eye evaluation it is found abnormal, then we have to optimize the ocular surface. Then again during the cataract surgery, we have to protect the surface by giving low illumination, also repeatedly use of the visco, and also you have to go for the post-surgery management of the dry eye. If it is normal, then go for the routine cataract surgery. So to conclude, assess dry eye before cataract surgery. Cataract can cause new DED or worsen existing DED. In most of the cataract case, the 75% they are asymptomatic. They develop after cataract surgery. So we have to find out, we have to catch out that pre-asymptomatic dry eye. So improve ocular surface before surgery, get systematic disease under control, precautionary intraoperative measure to reduce the trauma to the ocular surface. So while it is not used, while we are not doing anything, suppose during lens loading or other thing, so I used to switch off the light. Post-operative medication to reduce the dry eye disease, staged approach in eye with the cataract and ocular surface abnormality is very essential. Thank you. Any question?
Excellent presentation, ma'am. You have hit the nail when you said meibomitis and other management is very important prior to surgery, because if you don't manage it pre-operatively, then you will see the results interoperatively with all the muck floating around in the your surgical field. Not only that, your low class and other things are very important. Thank you, ma'am.